So you have like some gap years where you prepared for UPSC.
Gave my first attempt in 22, then my second attempt in 23. 25 was my third attempt. Till I started panicking. Because at the back of my head, it was running that if I don't score well in DLR, my CAT is waste. But I got 99.92.
Even when everything is looking very bad, okay, for your time to change, it just takes a few weeks.
It was already October mid. So I had 45 days. First, I joined Cracku. The reason why I joined Cracku was because it's one thing to teach something and it's completely different thing to actually go on the day of the exam and perform. Because I have seen, okay, so this particular guy has scored 100% 5 times. So he knows something that I don't know. Just 2-3 days before the exam, I knew from that particular session that there are around 8 type of sets that will come in DILR. One panel member was Telugu member and one of my hobby was Telugu poetry. So she asked me to recite a poem and explain. And she was like, you assume whatever you want then. And I'm glad that I was not judged because of my gap years. Rather, I was just judged purely on my knowledge and my performance on the interview.
Okay. Hi, Vivekanand. Okay. I'm very happy to have you here. In general, whenever somebody does well in CAT, or even if somebody doesn't do well, but especially when somebody does well and somebody converts a good institute, we always want to know their story. I personally am very interested in knowing stories because I feel that many people only look at the final result. Okay. And people forget the struggle or the days of like doubt that precede any of the results like this. So again, to let students know, you are Vivekanand, you have converted IIM Ahmedabad and IIM Bangalore.
Yes, sir.
And I'll tell you what I know and then correct me if I'm wrong.
Okay.
So you have like some gap years where you prepared for UPSC. That also is a very common thing. I meet a lot of CAT aspirants who have like some gap years. Okay. And then you finally converted IIM A and B. And now I think you're working somewhere, right? As you converted SSC CGL or something,
Yes,
right?
sir. So I am not working now. I just converted last year only.
Okay,
So I got a job as a customs examiner through SSCGL. But now that I got IMA, most probably I'll not be joining the job and thinking of going for MBA only.
Okay, good. So just as a background, can you please tell us about yourself and be as detailed as you want?
Okay, sir. So my profile is a very normal profile, general engineering male. So I did computer science from IIM Hyderabad. So I have been in Hyderabad from very long time. After my 10th, I moved to Hyderabad for JEE preparation. Then my 11th, 12th, and my graduation also happened here. So during the course of my graduation, especially during my internship and all, I realized that okay, maybe I don't want to have software development as my career path. But somehow I sat for the placements just to be sure, and I got a job offer from Amazon as a software developer. But it happened during before my 4th year only. And by the end of my 4th year, the final year, I realized that okay, I'll not take up my job and I will go with my UPSC preparation because that's what I was interested in. That's what my family also was trying to align me towards. So I went ahead with my UPSC preparation. I gave 3 attempts. 22.
You graduated in which year?
21, sir.
21.
I graduated in 21, long time back. So I gave my first attempt in 22, then my second attempt in 23. 24 I couldn't give because of some reason, and 25 was my third attempt.
Okay.
So in all my 3 attempts, I cleared prelims, but I was continuously not clearing my mains. I was getting stuck there. Somehow in my second attempt, I was very sure that I will be clearing in everything. But again, that was a very big shocker for me when I actually saw my UPSC result that my name was not in the list. And in 2025, after my mains was done, I kind of realized that okay, it's been a very long time. This whatever I'm putting my everything in this UPSC preparation is not giving me anything in return. So I thought I will have to do something. So that is when I realized okay, I'll give my SSCGL also. If I get a job there, good job, something, then maybe I can continue my preparation with by doing my job. And I thought I'll give my CAT also. To be honest, MBA was never really a part of my plan because my roommate, for him, MBA was a part of his plan.
Roommate where? In IIT?
No, sir. Here, he also preparing for UPSC. But he always had MBA as a backup. So he said, okay, why don't you apply for CAT also? Let's see. And my exam got done in 2025 September.
Okay.
And in November, I had my CAT. But I just applied it whenever the application came. And from October, I actually started preparing along with him for the CAT. Because I'm already from the math background, but Quant was not. I didn't need much preparation for Quant as such, and because for UPSC you had to read editorials and a lot of stuff, and you had to read them very fast also because you can't spend 3-4 hours reading newspaper alone. I have the habit of reading very fast and grasping whatever the gist is. So VARC and Quant was already sorted. DILR was one part that was struggling, but maybe I'll talk it later when about the CAT preparation. So I knew that I will do well, but given my profile GEM, I had to get 99.8 minimum as a bare minimum. So somehow my CAT went well. I got 99.92 and I got calls from all the colleges. But I always had that inside my mind that my profile will not stand out, especially for EABC, because I have gap years and I don't have corporate work experience. So that might be an issue. But when I actually gave my A call, I feel like I was not judged by my gap years, by the interview panel. So my interview panel was not judging me, okay, this guy has gap years. No, I should not take him. Rather, whatever my interview went along the lines of my UPSC preparation only. It was very random. The topics were very, very random. They asked me about at that point there was news about Vande Mataram. There was controversy going on. So she asked me about that, and then she shifted towards Janaganamana and Sare Jaha Sacha and Muhammad Iqbal. Why these are not famous? Why they are not that famous? And then they shifted towards geography, about rivers, world rivers, Mississippi, where it's starting, where it is draining through, which states it's passing, and then geopolitics, what is happening in the Sudan, what is happening in Hong Kong. And then the topics were very different. Then about history, suddenly she took up Turkey and Istanbul. Out of nowhere, she asked me, do you know Istanbul? And she asked me about Ottoman Empire, which ruled over Turkey, and what happened with that. And then because I also worked as a mathematics lecturer for 11th and 12th for a brief time. So she asked me about maths also, about normal calculus, differential integration. So whatever it is, the topics were very random. And I'm glad that I was not judged because of my gap years. Rather, I was just judged purely on my knowledge and my performance on the interview.
So do you think when they asked you about your UPSC questions, you think you answered well? You think you made a good impression there?
Yeah. I was able to answer almost every question. Except for one about Hong Kong, I was able to answer what is happening there. But she was asking me exact agreement. What was the exact agreement between the Britain and China about Hong Kong autonomy? Which year it started and which year it will end? I was not able to give the exact date, but that was towards the very end of the interview. But I think I was already able to make a good impression. It happened for 25-30 minutes, and I think I was able to make a very good impression in the first 25 minutes. It also worked in my favor because one panel member was Telugu member, and one of my hobby was Telugu poetry. So she asked me to recite a poem and explain.
Oh, nice. Which poem did you recite?
I recited a poem of Sri Sri.
Okay,
it's a very famous
no, it's okay.
It's a poem. Nenu Saitam Prapanchagniki. So that poem I recited the first 3 lines and explained my interpretation. I do not know that she was Telugu. So I explained the meaning and my interpretation of it, because that poem basically talks about small contributions towards the overall change. So I tried to align it towards teamwork and organizational behavior and all that. And then she told me that I understand that.
No, I think 2 things. First, I think you did well in UPSC, as in you prepared well. I think so it showed that you are not like some flaky guy. You had a passion and you put a lot of effort. And I also think there was some luck involved. Because asking about a poetry which you knew, and you reciting this poem, which is like a very famous poem and very like emotional poem. So it will obviously set the right stage for your interview. So that is good. So anyway, before coming to this interview, I wanted to ask about UPSC itself. 2 things, because there are so many UPSC aspirants who think of doing CAT. So at what time did you first think that, this is it, I'm not going to prepare for UPSC again? Because one of the things that I meet many UPSC guys, they're just stuck in that loop forever. So when did you like put a stop loss that, this is it, I'm not going to prepare for UPSC?
Yeah, so most of the people I've seen also preparing for UPSC, they fall victims of this sunk cost fallacy. Since I have spent 4 years or 3 years, I'll spend 1 more year. I will give 1, because you have 6 attempts for general candidate guys. So 6 attempts means you can spend 7 years even if you give continuous attempts. So I have actually seen people who have spent 6-7 years and then now they're completely confused. So at what point I have decided is that when I felt that I have given my best and I still couldn't clear it, that is when I realized that there are many factors that are not in my hand. So I need to start looking for alternatives, and that happened in 2025 mains, because I felt that there is no issue from my side. I have put in the entire hard work and I have given my best. Giving your best during preparation is one thing. Doing your best on the day of the exam is different. I did both. I was able to give my best in the exam also, but still I couldn't clear it. So that is when I realized that because it's a subjective paper, you don't know how you're being graded, and there is something called as normalization also that happens in UPSC because of your optional, and that is very opaque process, not as transparent as CAT. So I realized that okay, I have spent enough time, and after 3 attempts, I have felt like I'm enough.
That's good. And one more thing, okay, this might be like slightly touchy, but how did your parents react when you said, okay, maybe I'm not going to pursue UPSC, I'm looking at backup? Because you said that they were also invested in your UPSC dream, right?
Yeah, so particularly my father was interested in me preparing for UPSC. But my parents has been very supportive overall. It was a bit of a surprise even for me also, because I have seen people who have prepared for UPSC and who were kind of unable to clear and stuck up at some part. There are people who got stuck up in the interview process also, and from what I was able to see, their parents were kind of pushy towards, okay, you're not settling, you have to do something about it, kind of putting pressure on them. But again, luckily my parents are not like that, so they were fine with everything, and they were okay with, okay, if you want to spend more time in preparation also, you can do that. And my father also liked saying that okay, my son is going to IIM Ahmedabad.
Yeah.
So
No,
he
now
was
it is fine. Now it is fantastic.
so he was like, okay, if you want to go for IIM also, that is also okay. So yeah, in that way my parents were very supportive. So I'm glad about that.
So yeah, now let us discuss about your CAT preparation. First, after UPSC, you attempted 3 times, you didn't go through. The reason I'm asking that is because even I have seen in my life, okay, sometimes even though I have some confidence in myself, when things are not going well, my confidence also takes a beating. Okay, so I just wanted to know how you were thinking in October 2025, because UPSC you tried for 3-4 years.
Yeah.
Okay, you gave your best. Now it didn't work out. Now you're looking at a backup, but again, like you're saying, you have some confidence. But what was your mindset like at that time?
To be honest, I think I was very much depressed because 2025 particularly was a very, very rough year for me, because I gave XAT last year also.
2025 January.
Yeah, 2025 January, and I thought it went fine. But I couldn't clear the sectional cutoff for DM.
Yeah.
So it just by 1 mark. I
no.
cleared the overall cutoff, but just by 1 mark, I couldn't clear the sectional cutoff for DM. So that was very depressing. I gave CGL last year also. And I thought I'll clear CGL also, but I couldn't clear it. That again was a disaster. And I gave my state civil services also, group 1. And I couldn't clear that also in mains. That again was a disaster. And then I came my UPSC. That again, I couldn't clear mains. Again, it was a disaster. So 2025 was one failure after another failure. And it was, it was very depressing in my opinion, because that was probably the worst year of my entire life. Yeah, that's what I was feeling at that point, that okay, my career has gone to dogs. Now I left a very good job from Amazon. People who joined Amazon at that point, they are earning 50 lakhs now. People are going to places in the last because 4 years is a very long time to make career. So people are going places, people are buying flats, some people are getting married, some people are traveling world, people are doing so many things, and I am just stuck up in one room preparing for cutting out all my social contacts, because I was not able to go anywhere because of preparation, and here I am left with nothing, because absolutely nothing, because UPSC is like that lottery, because if you clear it, you'll get everything. If you don't clear it, you'll be nothing.
I know.
Yeah, so that was my mindset.
Close friends, okay, very close friend, okay, was stuck in that loop for 6 years, okay. And when I was in Hong Kong, I was always in touch with him. And once I called him and he said, don't call me on Friday, okay, because if you call me on Friday, I get depressed, because I know that you are going like to some club or somewhere and I'm just stuck in this room. So when you said that we cut off everything and just stay in a row, I just thought of him. Okay.
Yeah, it is very depressing because it happened. First 2 years was fine, because things don't move that much until 2023. It was fine, and 2023 mains, in my opinion, it was like best. I gave my best during the preparation also, and the exam also. I was very sure, because I was not. I'm never sure about clearing an exam, but that was the only exam where I told my parents that I will clear it. And then the result came, it was not there. It was kind of embarrassing also, because I said I will clear and I didn't clear. So yeah, until 2 years it was fine, but after that I don't think I was ever able to recover mentally from that failure. Yeah, but now this year has been good.
Yeah, so it changed, suddenly things change. That also I keep telling people, like even when everything is looking very bad, okay, for your time to change, it just takes a few weeks. Okay, if you're just still positive, optimistic, motivated, okay,
Yeah.
everything suddenly starts falling in place.
Mm.
So yeah, now let's discuss your CAT preparation. So October 2025, you started looking at CAT. You have just 2 months left.
2 months left.
So what did you do? Yeah.
To get out of my depression, I first went on a trip
Okay.
to go here itself to Gokarna and Dandeli. I came back. It was already October mid.
Huh.
So I had 45 days
Huh.
because November 30 was the exam date of the exam, if I remember right. So I had 45 days. And I did not look at anything, but first I joined Cracku test series. The reason why I joined Cracku was because of you only, because I have seen it's one thing to teach something and it's completely different thing to actually go on the day of the exam and perform, because I have seen, okay, so this particular guy has scored 100% 5 times, so he knows something that I don't know. So I joined only because of that, and then I gave one mock test from the Cracku test series. And I assessed, okay, so quant is something that I can do. Even if I don't prepare also, I was able to solve, let's say, 8-9 questions, which is good enough. And then VARC also, I was getting around 35. So that is also good enough. I can improve upon it. DLR was something that I was, getting stuck at, because I don't know, because I feel like DLR is a lot about choosing the right set.
Yeah.
Because you have only sectional timing, you have 40 minutes, and you pick a wrong set, you spend 10-15 minutes on it, you don't get it, then it's gone, because you will be you'll start panicking.
Yeah.
I think everyone will start panicking, because I am willing to believe that if I feel like DLR is tough, it should be tough for everyone, because I think that I can relatively solve these sets better. So DLR was one part where I was getting stuck at. And I realized that, okay, so the game is that you have to pick the right set, and then you should ensure that you should not take too much of risk. You shouldn't go for, okay, these are 5 questions, even if it's tough, I will solve this because I'll get 5 questions right. That should not be the case. You just pick a set that you're comfortable with. Go for an easy set first. First, you have to look at all the sets. So these are something that I realized, and I gave all my 25 marks, and I gave the PYQs also, which was available on the platform. So that has been my entire preparation. Because I had only 45 days, so the schedule was kind of like, morning I will give the exam, I will have the marks, and evening and night I will analyze whatever mistakes I've made. Okay, maths I don't have to read, but there are some topics that I was not comfortable with. For example, geometry. Since I'm not used to it, I left it a long time back. I was going through that topic again instead of reading everything completely in syllabus, because of the time constraint. Same with the VARC also. I realized that, okay, RCs I can answer well, but the para jumbling things I can't answer well. So I will answer them towards the end anyway. I will first answer all the 4 RCs because I was scoring well in my RCs.
Okay.
So I kind of made a plan for myself to maximize my score. So that has been the 45 days.
So you took all the 20 dash cats, right?
Yeah, I took everything, whatever was there on the platform. There were 20 dash cats and then 5 something.
Marks,
5 heads. And I also took the
previous
year's paper. From 2021, I took it. So I would say that around 35 marks I have given.
Okay, very nice.
Whatever I have made mistakes, I've made online notes of it.
Okay.
I took just a screenshot of it and I pasted it on my online notes. And I was revising them continuously, because sometimes using maths formulas might be very helpful. So especially for maths, sometimes you don't remember the formula. So I was, revising them, and so that it will stick in my mind. That was
okay. So the last 45 days you spent mostly on taking a lot of mocks.
Yeah, taking a lot of mocks, because mocks, in my opinion, are fastest way to learn things and identify your gaps rather than going through the entire syllabus. Because for someone with my background who is from engineering, they don't need to do the entire quant, because they already know most of the things. I don't need to read quadratic equations. I don't know. So there are only few topics that someone like me might struggle, especially like geometry was one topic where I was a bit struggling, in my opinion, and it was time consuming also. So only those topics I went back and I have read the theory. Okay, this is what happening. These are the formulas and all that.
Okay, very nice. So this is very good way of utilizing. Now that I think back on it, okay, if you have only 45 days, okay, and you come from a background, okay, of IIT and all, computer science. So I feel, what you did was very smart, okay. Now, on the day or 1-2 days before the examination, how was your mindset? Were you like nervous, or were you confident in your preparation, or?
I was very nervous, because the reason for that is because this has become my everything at that point, because the main result has already come at that point. In November only the main result came.
Okay.
again it was a failure. Until then I thought, okay, if I don't clear mains, then I have to give CAT and go for MBA. So then it came and was like, okay, so something which I never thought I'll do in my life has become my main goal in my life now. So it was very, so yeah, I was very tensed in that. Apart from that, because I also require a very high percentage. It is one thing to get 99 above or at least 99.5 because getting 99 above means that you're somewhere below 2,800 rank because I think 2.8 lakh people gave. Getting at least 99.5 is also fine because you have to be in 1500. That is also okay. But in order to get 99.8, 9 and 99.99, a lot of things have to align on that particular day.
100%.
So that was also there at the back of my mind. Okay, so I can't, there should be no loose ends because I have to perform in all three sections. Only then I will get 99.9. So that was another reason that why I was stressed. Yeah, that was my mindset, but I did not panic as such. There are few things that I think I did in the last 2-3 days that helped me. Now that I reflect back, Cracku was conducting, both you and ma'am was conducting some live sessions. So last minute revisions. I attended that. DILR was particularly helpful for me because I did not know until then that there are around 8 type of sets that will come in DILR. I did not know that. Only on that, just 2-3 days before the exam, I knew from that particular session that, okay, so there are 8 sets that will come. And these are the sets that I can pick. Okay, so then I realized, okay, scheduling problems are something that are very tough for me. So maybe I will not pick it. But filling numbers, Sudoku kind of sets or something that I can solve well because I can imagine numbers. So okay, these are the sets I will pick in. So that kind of helped me to narrow down my options. Then in that very same session only, I remember a very important tip for DLR. The reason why I'm talking about DLR is because I think a lot of people struggle with
100%.
DLR only. People say Quant is my strong. Let's say I will say Quant is my strong. Some people who are from, let's say, humanities background or something, they will say VARC is my strong background. But I have never heard someone say DLR is my strong section.
I agree.
So for DLR, from that session only, I think, or maybe from mock series video something, I remember you saying never leave the TTA questions.
100%.
That really helped me on the D-Day because until then I was not practicing it, not leaving the TTA question. I was to leave TTA questions. Whatever I solve, I will mark them. But when I watched that particular thing, I realized that, okay, so this is the DLR is very peculiar in the sense that people don't solve entire DLR. People only solve 1 or 2 sets only usually. Unlike Quant where people solve 20 or VARC where people mark everything. So each question matters in DLR. Even if you get one question right also out of fluke, that really pushes your percentile above. So in my real exam, the paper was very tough. Because mine was the toughest slot 1. Okay. So it was very tough. I was able to solve one data interpretation question first. Then I was trying to solve the other question. It was not solving. I was able to solve partially. Then I looked at other set. I was able to solve again partially. I started panicking because at the back of my head, it was running that if I don't score well in DLR, my CAT is waste because even if I get 99.56 also, I will not get any calls. So I have to get good score in DLR also. Then I remember that, okay, you mark the TTA questions. So I solved partially and I marked the TTA questions for one particular set. I was able to solve only 1.5 set. 1.5 set is basically a 4 plus 2 or 3. So, but when I marked TTA questions, I marked 5 and I got 3 of them right.
Very good. Excellent.
3 of them right. I did not know that obviously until the results came. And when I came back after the exam was over, I felt like my DLR was gone because I was able to solve only 2 sets. 2 sets means you'll get only 24 marks. 8 3 is 24. But I was thinking that I have to score at least 30 in order to get 99.89. And I was like, okay, it's gone. But then when the mark sheet came, I realized, okay, this TTA thing actually saved my life. So I got, I make educated guesses because sometimes you can actually narrow down your options. Okay, because based on the numbers, you have only 5 minutes left. You can't solve the entire set in 5 minutes. Rather than spending the 5 minutes in solving the entire set, it's better you make educated guess. So that out of 4 questions, you can get at least 2 right.
Correct.
So that's what I did on the D-Day. And luckily, I got 30, my raw score, and then this was a tough slot, so I got scaled up to 35.
Very nice, excellent. So basically, even in TTA, okay, people might find it very surprising, but I always get at least one question correct in data by guessing.
Yeah, it
Always.
happens because you are not fluking.
Correct.
You are making an educated guess
Correct.
based on whatever. Sometimes what happens is that the answer can only be a single digit.
Correct.
So there is no point in living. Just mark
Yes.
6 or
Yeah.
7 based on whatever
Yeah.
it feels like a right thing.
Yeah.
You can narrow it down to 4, 5, 6, 7. You just
Yeah.
mark 4.
Yeah, exactly. If you
So-
make an educated guess in 4, you'll get at least 1 or sometimes 2 correct.
Yeah, in my thing it happened. I think I got 3 right out of 5.
Very good. Yeah.
Which is very good. Yeah. So that maybe I got 2 right out of 5. Yeah. So that really helped me. But unfortunately, because I remember it from one of your video where you're talking about one particular student who said who I think one section of his didn't go well.
Yeah.
And instead of giving up, he fought back in the Quant.
Correct.
So I kind of remembered that
Yeah.
also, and I was like, okay, fine. Even if I don't clear it, at least I should give my best. It shouldn't be the case that I will not even get 99.5. Even if I get 99.5, I might not get interview calls, but at least I want to maximize my score.
Yeah.
So I tried to do my best in Quant, even though at the back of my head I was having like, okay, I messed up my DLR.
Yeah.
So I did well, but unfortunately I made 2-3 calculation mistakes in Quant. Could be because of my tensed mind at that point. But overall,
this is fantastic. No, like coming from your background, okay, like many failures in the last like few months, okay, not in the.
It was very hurting in the sense that it was my first time I failed in a particular in academic setup, because most of, if I remember right, most of the times when I want something academically, I got it.
Yeah.
So I never faced that giving everything and failing. That was first time I experienced.
That is good in my opinion, because sometimes failure teaches us a lot more, okay, about ourselves as compared to success. And this right now it might seem first you're going to IIM, but even otherwise also, if I had met you in say October, okay, of last year, I would have still told you that at this point of time it might feel like very painful. But 3-4 years later, okay, whatever learnings that you make from this experience will make you much stronger. Because I've seen like many years of life, right?
Yeah, that's okay.
And I've also seen ups and downs, always, okay? Many ups and downs. People might not realize it, but I've seen so many ups and downs. And luckily, after a point of time, when you go through 2 or 3 lows, with the experience, you feel that, okay, this is a low. I can identify that this is a low. There's no doubt there, okay? But I know that this low will teach me something. I'll become stronger, okay? You'll gain that confidence.
Yeah.
But even in your perspective, I was just saying that after many lows, okay, and DILR not going according to plan, okay, and you don't know how difficult it was. At that point of time,
I did not know that, because I think last year the paper was very easy.
I know,
so I was judging it based on the last year marks, and I was like, even if you solve 2.5 sets or 3 sets also, you are getting this percentile. And I was not able to solve. I solved only 2 sets. That too not completely. I solved 4 plus 3. So only 7 questions I got right. So I was like, okay, then it's gone anyway, because even if I solve 2.5 sets also, I might not get the desired percentile. I was like, yeah. But then, the mental fortitude, I believe, was kind of important, especially in CAT, because a lot of chances for you to mess up the DILR, especially.
Yeah, I know.
VARC, even if you don't do good, you don't know, because you feel that you did well. But DILR, you know, okay, you didn't do well. So that was very big issue for me.
I agree. So the story of the student, okay, he used to work as content manager many years ago, okay. And obviously, because he was working here, I know him very well, okay, very smart fellow, very strong guy, okay. So, and the pattern changed sometime around 2017 or so. Till then, they used to have DIs, and DI sets you'll always get it correct. Okay. But suddenly everything became LR with some DI, okay. And in that year, there was no DI. Everything was logical, okay. And he didn't know, like right now, everybody fears DILR, okay. Many people, when they're entering, like you, even me, I also am like not super confident of it, because anything can go, okay. It can go wrong. It can go wrong for anyone, okay. But at that time, it was not common knowledge, okay. At that time, people thought, okay, DI sets anyways ban jayenge, okay. But that was the first time it happened, and he didn't have any idea whether this is easy, difficult, what is expected, he doesn't know, okay. And he messed up. I think he attempted only 7 questions, like you, okay, 7. But at that time, I really liked it that when he came out, he said, sir, I attempted 7 questions, but in Quant, I was just telling myself that if I get everything correct, I have a chance. And he got everything correct, okay. And he cracked Quant, okay, and his strength was Quant and DILR. At that time, people used to say that I'm also strong at DILR. So he was good at Quant and DILR, he was weak at verbal. But anyway, that was a very good story. Now coming to the response sheet. Response sheet has come, so you are very happy. How much was your raw score?
My raw score was, I believe, 106, and it
Okay.
scaled up to 113.
Okay, very good. So at that time, you would know that, okay, I'm scoring definitely above 99.8.
Yeah, but there was also a bit of an issue because they messed up the raw scores. They did not give answers for the TITA questions in font.
Okay, okay.
When I first saw the raw
Yeah,
score,
yeah.
I got only 15 marks. Right, it's over then because 15 marks I may not even clear sectional cutoff.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So I was first very depressed. Then I was looking, I think, on Reddit or something where they said, no, there is an issue with the TITA questions. I was like, okay. Okay, that was, yeah. But yeah, after that, by the end of the day, knew that, okay, I will be getting, because the percentile also I checked on the predictor and it was showing 99.9. I was like, okay, I will get the calls. Now I have to prepare for the interviews. So that was my.
So how did you prepare for the interviews? Because like we discussed, you have this gap year, UPSC preparation. So again, mindset will be like very important, right? So what did you tell yourself?
Even after seeing the results also, I was not super confident. The reason for that is because, as I said, things kind of aligned, because on a bad day, I might not get this percentile also. So it was a reasonably good day. So yeah, I got this percentile, I'm getting calls, but at the back of my head, I always had this inferiority feeling that, okay, I have gap years. And I know that MBA is not about your score, it's about your profile. If you have gap years, that is definitely a negative point. And yeah, I had it, and I was very modest also about my targets. I don't want ABC. I will maybe L or I will go for KI. That was the mindset I had. That was a mindset I had for a very long time also. After giving my interviews also, until I realized that my interviews went fine. So my main preparation was Cracku with PrepZone was offering in GDPI coaching. I felt like I need a coaching because I have no idea about this entire MBA process and what domains are there, what should be your profile, building your profile and all that. So I joined the coaching. It was very good in my opinion because I am completely oblivious to the entire recruitment process or this thing. So it guided me very well. Okay, this is what is required, expected of you. This is what you have to perform. Okay, and then I realized that there are three things that you need to be well prepared about. The first thing is your graduation. Since my was computer science, I almost forgot it everything. So I went and brushed back all the important topics, and they also told me what topics are important, like DSA, OOPS, operating systems, and all this DBMS. So 4 or 5 topics I revised, and then the second pillar was your work experience. Since I did not have much of work experience, for me work experience means UPSC only. So they can ask everything, anything they can ask, random topic also, because in my IIM interview she randomly picked up what is happening in Sudan.
Yeah.
Well, I might know what is happening in Sudan, but if you ask it at gunpoint, tell me what is happening at some random African country, then it's very tough.
Yeah.
So basically that UPSC thing I had to prepare. I had to prepare well. And the third pillar, third pillar was the gender knowledge, which for me it clubs with the UPSC only, but for others, gender knowledge and basic economics. It shouldn't be the case that they ask you inflation, you shouldn't say 20%. You should at least say something around the actual rate. So these are the three pillars which, in my opinion, that were kind of important for the GDPI. So yeah, I started preparing. First, I completed my graduation. The second, I was revising all my UPSC important topics, and maths I was revising because since I also worked as a mathematics lecturer, so I was revising all the important maths things. Yeah, so that has been my preparation. I was attending live classes. There was some live classes, sessions that were happening in the GDPI course. So I was attending them, and then I was doing my preparation side by side. So that has been my preparation mostly.
And with
Yeah,
respect to interviews, were you grilled in any interview about UPSC or gap years? I think went well, A interview, but any of the other interviews?
I was not grilled. Yeah, I was grilled. I was grilled. The very first interview, SP Jain was the first interview. And the interview panel member kind of mocked me from the very onset itself. I don't really know why, but he called me Vivekananda. I asked me, it's Vivekananda? Yeah, I know. I was talking like AI. He said, I don't know what was a joke. And then we sat. He asked us to introduce. And then, did you see what questions were asked, to the previous interview candidates? And I did not know what to answer, because if I say no, then it feels like, okay, this guy is not even responsible, because a responsible guy will actually go and see what questions are. If they say yes, then he will feel like, okay, he has a advantage. So I should, not score him well. So I did not know what to answer, and I said, okay, I've seen few questions. And he was like, okay, then I will not ask you anything that I've asked. And he grilled me about my gap years. He said, okay, so you have been unemployed for quite some time now. And then he asked me computer science questions, which I was able to answer most of them. Then he asked me, what are flops? I said, it was something. He asked me about matrix multiplication, which I said I told him the algorithm, and he asked me how many flops are required to calculate this, and I said, I don't know. I know that flops. You don't know flops? I said, I think it's about floating point operations, but I don't know how to calculate it right now. I said, I don't know what they're teaching in graduation these days. He said like that. He mocked me a couple of times again. He asked me why SP Jain. I said I was trying to. Well, everyone gives a prepared answer only.
Correct, yeah.
So I was trying to give him some answer regarding the social impact, and I was like, I was like that. And he rejected me in group 1 itself.
Oh, really? Gone?
Yeah, I gone.
Okay.
And I feel
I
like
thought this was like a stress interview and they will take you. No.
No. It could be the reason that they know my CAT percentile, and they probably thought that he might not join our college also, because I believe SPGN releases results a lot before also.
True.
And the people who got selected in my panel, I don't think they performed that well also in the interview compared to me, or their profiles as such also. Except for my gap years, I think my profile is fine. Yeah, that was the issue. So that was very first interview, and I got rejected. I was expecting I will move to group 2, the stage 2, but I got rejected, and I had to travel from Hyderabad to Bangalore, spend 15,000 on that alone, and then he rejected me. I was sad. Then my Kozhikode interview was the next interview. It went so bad. By the time I stood up in front, like towards the end of the interview, you want to leave and you stand up saying thank you. It felt like I'm standing naked in front of 2 people. That's how embarrassing it was, because he proved, one particular panel member, he was so condescending that she made it seem like I know nothing about maths. Okay. Although I am very strong about maths. She was basically grilling me about a normal curve, bell curve. And she was like, you assume whatever you want then. You will do whatever you want, na? So why are you asking me? You just do. So you'll do whatever you want. So like that. You don't know? Gone. Like that. She was very condescending. I don't know how many marks they will give, because K results are yet to be released. But yeah, very, very disastrous start. If you ask me about my interview session.
But so K was bad because they asked you about maths and all, but they didn't ask you about your gap years or UPSC.
No, they did not ask me. To be honest, I don't think I was ever grilled on my UPSC gap years. Maybe they just kind of assumed that, okay, this is a backup plan only for him. There is no point in asking about it.
No, what I feel is, and this I genuinely feel, whenever somebody is spending 5 years of their life, okay, on something which is UPSC, I know that it matters so much to them. And if they're trying, okay, they're spending 5 years, everyone knows the cost of those 5 years, okay. So they're doing that out of passion. So if you're trying for passion and you're failing, there's nothing wrong with it. Okay.
In my opinion, also there is nothing wrong with it. But for I later came to know that the interview panel members will also think from the institute side that whether we can place this guy in a good company. I was told like that. But my experience was, obviously the interview experience was different, because they asked me about why I prepared for UPSC and why you're coming to MBA. Even my A interview also, she asked me, why don't you go ahead and exhaust your attempts, because you have 6 attempts. You only gave 3 attempts. Why don't you go ahead? I already prepared answers for that.
What was your answer?
So yeah, my answer was basically about how people get stuck up in the UPSC and me invest, because one thing is that it shows that I have the risk-taking ability.
Correct.
That is one positive point I wanted to show. And it's not like I did not make any progress in that also, because I cleared prelims continuously, because clearing prelims is also a big thing, because 10 lakh people apply and around 10,000 or 12,000 people clear prelims. So that itself is a good margin to show that you have actually progressed. So I was telling about my progress, like I have progressed also regarding that, and what I have learned, because it is a very diverse sub things. You learn about polity, you learn about economics, you learn about international relations, ethics, a lot of things engineers or normal engineer who is working in IT might be completely ignorant about.
True.
So I told them what I have gained from UPSC, and I told them that same thing which I just told you, that I don't want to fall victim of sunk cost fallacy, because you spend 4 years. I shouldn't think that, okay, since I already spent 4 years, I will give 1 more year and then 1 more year. It shouldn't be the case. I realized that it's time for me to move on, because I I also aligned it towards the MBA also, because a good manager should know when to move on from a
Okay.
project. So I
Good,
moved
good,
on,
good. That's good. Yeah.
and I said that is why I come to MBA, and I tried to show some similarity between UPSC and MBA, because UPSC, in my opinion, at some point you will be managing the government resources. In MBA, when you become a manager, you will be managing, in a very vague sense, you'll be managing private resources.
True, true, true.
So I try to show that,
Mm.
okay, whatever skills I have learned will be useful for MBA also.
True, true.
So yeah, I was not grilled much,
Mhm.
but I was asked reasoning in most of the interviews.
Okay.
That why you are moving from
Mm.
UPSC to MBA.
Mhm.
So yeah, I gave the
I
whatever
think that's
prepared.
good. Yeah, yeah. So yeah, once the results come, okay, I
Mm.
think A results came, right?
Yeah.
So how did you feel? Were you expecting or not expecting, and how did your parents feel?
I know that I gave my best in the interview, because
Mhm.
after the interview, you kind of feel like,
Yeah.
okay, you'll get that sense that it went well, but I require very high marks to convert
Mhm.
because of my profile.
Mhm.
I require 60, I think around 65 to 70%, which is
Mhm.
very high.
Mhm.
But I know that I did well. I was hoping,
Mhm.
I was not sure, but I was hoping that I will convert. But I know that I'll convert C definitely, because my
Okay.
C also went very well.
Mhm.
I was able to answer more of the question, and I require only 55% marks, and I knew that I will cross it. And AWT also went,
Mhm.
my VAT also went fine
Mhm.
for C. I know that C
Mhm.
will kind of be my,
Mhm.
where I will convert, hopefully.
Mhm.
Yeah, I was not very sure,
Mhm.
but I was pleasantly surprised. I was in Delhi for FMS interview at that point.
Okay.
So I was happy,
Mhm.
looking at, congratulations, first time something good happened. in a long time, something good has happened. So I was happy. I told my parents immediately. They were also very happy. So yeah.
Very nice, man. Very happy for you. So just before ending the interview, I wanted you to tell future aspirants, okay, two things. One good thing that you did in your CAT preparation, something that worked out for you, and one bad thing, one mistake that you made, which you don't want future aspirants to repeat.
One good thing that I did was placing more emphasis on the mocks rather than learning the theory, because when you when you write a mock and you mark something wrong and you read the solution, it kind of sticks in your brain better than reading theory, in my opinion. And analyzing mocks, there is no point in making a mistake if you're not learning anything from your mistakes. So mocks and analysis and the teacher solving, because sometimes you might have a different method that might be more effective. There were few things in Quant. Despite me believing that I'm good at Quant, a lot of things I've learned from the solutions, videos which were uploading. So I would say mocks and analysis. That is one thing that you should be definitely sure about. And strategizing based on your strong point. RC was my strong point in VARC. So I attempted all the 4 RCs best. A lot of people don't do that. A lot of people do 2 RCs first and then we go for VA and then come back. I think that is what you were doing also.
Yeah, that's what I did.
So like, don't follow something blindly. Do whatever suits you the best.
Yeah.
That is one thing. One bad thing, I would say, probably the consistency, because I was not very, one day I was giving exams on the morning, then some other day on the evening, and then night. It usually doesn't have an impact, but on the D day, you don't know which slot you will come. So mine was in the morning, and I have a bad habit of sleeping in the morning rather than night. So that one mistake I did.
Okay.
It was kind of not getting me into that zone, because I did not have proper sleep before CAT. So that is one issue. I would say don't repeat, but I myself was not able to come out of it.
Yeah, but it worked out for you.
Yeah.
So yeah, man, very nice. Very happy. Okay.
Thanks.
So I hope that you do well in IIM also. We'll discuss that also after the entry is over.
Okay.
But very happy that you actually came to our office, okay, to talk. Okay.
Thank you, sir.